Welcome. So let us focus on next sutra, nya-sanskâra-pratibandhî. What is sanskara? Let us understand that whatever we experience becomes a sanskara. And anything that we entertain in our mind, more often that becomes a strong sanskara. So basically, when we are interacting in this world, that creates sanskara. But when we meditate, that also creates sanskara. And this sanskara, which we have, develop different kind of chitta bhumikas. This helps. For example, we understand that there is this mamata. Okay. Mamata is me, my, mine. Now, depending on which kind of chitta bhumi this is, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, this mamata also changes. Just for example, in Gita chapter 1, 3 types of mamata we find. Tamasic mamata, rajasic mamata, and sattvic mamata. What is there? What are those examples in first chapter? The beginning of Gita, chapter 1. Dhritarashtra uvacha. Dharmakshetre kurukshetre samaveta yujutsava mamaka pandavaschaiva. Mamaka. Understand? In the first shloka itself, Dhritarashtra is seen to be exhibiting this mamata. And we all know that Dhritarashtra is having mamata which is tamasic. Why? Because he is blind, first of all. He doesn't know many of the things. Blind not only by way of eyes or sight, he is blind in many ways. He doesn't see beyond his own people, beyond the benefit of his own son, the oldest one being Duryodhana. And he also wants to continue to stick to that throne of Hastinapur. This is called a tamasic mamata. Then, when Duryodhana is describing about his army, he uses the same words laden with mamata, where he says that these people, these warriors on my side, are ready to be killed for me. This is rajasic mamata. Okay. He is not interested or not bothered about who is going to be killed. But he is taking pride in my. Because they are all going to be killed. They have decided to come here and even get ready to kill for me. This is rajasic mamata. But the most subtle is sattvic mamata, which is of Arjuna's. Arjuna's sattvic mamata is what? I don't want to kill gurus, relatives, brothers, acharyas, grandfathers, all that. I don't want to kill. You see, it's not that he does not want to kill acharyas, grandfathers, gurus, and relatives. The problem is not in killing. Problem is my relative, my guru, my acharya, my brothers. And then he further gives a lecture, long lecture on what will happen. Sattvic mamata is the most subtle, and in this disguise of sattvic mamata, you will bind yourself to the world. And all of you, whosoever is wherever you are, whatever you are doing, this is your sattvic mamata, which is being justified by each one of you to continue to do whatever you are doing. Please recognize this. And it is very, very difficult to win over this. Now, how this mamata changes its tonality? Based on the overall environment or vasana of chittam, the coloring of your chittam. And how does that change? By the way of all your experiences which are gathered here. So those who have attended contemplation workshop, they know that by adding colors after colors after colors, we change the overall tonality of the mind space, which is chittam. And then that decides what kind of mamata, what kind of ahankara we will have. So it is clear that sanskaras of Duryodhan and sanskaras of Arjuna and sanskaras of Dhritarashtra must have been different. And they are different. Because Duryodhan is surrounded by people who are just worshipping him. And look at it. His own father is not ready to let go his seat. That is why, no? Out of turn, he was given that seat, right? But he does not want to leave it. So that is the biggest sanskara Duryodhan has. And look at the sanskaras of these Pandavas. First of all, they are offsprings of devatas. So they have Deviya sanskaras. Second, they are also surrounded by very sattvic people, tapasvi people. And therefore, their sanskaras and chitta bhumika is different. tonality of their mind space is different. We should always recognize that whatever we expose ourselves to in some or the other way, irrespective of what you are exposed to, will change the tonality of your mind. So when you pick up your mobile phone, and now exposure is very, the control on exposure is not as easy nowadays, because your mobile has the whole world of different sort of events catering to you. All the impressions that modern people are having in their head, 99% of them comes from social media. Okay. And there is no such training institute, neither at the level of school, not at the level of secondary, not at the level of undergraduates and graduates, or even for adults. What to watch, what not to watch, what to expose to, and what should be completely avoided. And even if there would be one training institute, I'm sure no one will follow. Why? Because once again, the basic enemies, the immortal enemies, which are always there, Shadharipus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, they are going to be there. Kama topping the list. And therefore you can't control. Because human beings, just like any other animal, will always be attracted to such content. So once learning must be there that the world creates sanskaras, but your question would be, what will happen if I create a state of mind where there are no ripples, where there are no thoughts? Does it mean that when there are no thoughts, I am in nirvichara state? Will it also create a sanskara? That's the question. Recognize this. If there are thoughts, if there are impressions, if there is nama, rupa, swarupa, gandha, shabda, sparsha, rasa, etc., that does create sanskara. We all know. But does the absence of thoughts also create a sanskara? There's something very important is being declared here. Patanjali is saying that after nirvichara vaisharadya, that means after the mastery over thoughtlessness, in the state of Vishoka and Jyotishmati, when your mind is without any impressions, then also sanskaras are created. But something very positive about these sanskaras. Sanskaras which are created in thoughtless state, what they would be. Just think. They would be like a uniform substratum, because there is nothing in particular to be perceived. It's a uniform, solid kind of, if we compare it to the sanskara, just like as a small particles, threads, blades of grass, then it would be big enough, a leaf, like banana leaf, covering the whole mind space. Is it not? because it is uniformly spread. What is sanskara? The kind of state which your surface of mind, which is conscious mind, is experiencing. So when conscious mind is free of thoughts, when conscious mind is free of thoughts, and your subconscious, deep subconscious, is laden with Vishoka and Jyotishmati, this is a state of affairs at the different pertinent layers of mind. And whatever is be the state of mind, that creates sanskara. So what if there are no thoughts? It is also a state of mind. When we have thoughts, when we have worries, when we have certain impressions upon it, then also this is a state of mind. When we remove it, then also it is a state of mind. State of mind in itself is capable of creating sanskaras. That is what Patanjali is saying. Whether thoughts or no thoughts. Comparison I am trying to draw, how to just come to this understanding which this particular sutra is saying. taj-jah sanskara nya-sanskâra-pratibandhî. taj-jah means tat-jah means ja means born. Tat means then. There. What does that mean? After attaining nirvichara vaisharadya, thoughtless state of mind, laden with Vishoka and Jyotishmati, which means laden with inner illumination of pure being, pure presence, and filled with an inner joy, self-effulgent joy, that creates taj-jah sanskara. Then that creates sanskara. It is saying sanskara. It is not saying sanskara. Understand? Why so? With only one sanskara. In thoughtless state, only one sanskara. The sanskara is a mix of joy with illumination and complete stillness of mind. Therefore, it is sanskara. This sanskara, this impression, which is generated or created after a particular state of mind is achieved, nya-sanskâra-pratibandhî. What it does? When this sanskara is created, it works against all other sanskaras. Nya-sanskâra-pratibandhî means it will have the power to weaken and then finally eliminating all other sanskaras. Which means now you are getting rid of all the kachara, all the garbage. You are getting rid of all the vasanas. You are getting rid of all the confusions. You are getting rid of all the ignorance. You are getting rid of all the miseries. You are getting rid of all the desires. You are getting rid of all the elements of anger. Nothing like that will prevail once this sanskara is held in your mind repeatedly. Okay? Repeatedly is not the word. Actually, continuously is the word. This state of mind is continuous state of mind for a siddha. For sadhaka, it is interpolated by different type of tonalities and states of mind. So did I not tell that this single sanskara covering whole mind space will be like, if we compare our mind as a timeline in which certain width like a river, then this one sanskara will be like a plank around the river, across the river. Because time is the continuum on which sanskaras continue to flow, keep on rising and going and rising, and these are the vrittis. The impressions keep falling, and there is like ECG like graph, continues. So what it will be like? It's not a straight line. It's like whole mind space, whole spectrum of mind is covered with single one sanskara. So whole big sanskara, not a small sanskara. It is a biggest sanskara that can cover the mind because it is occupying the whole mind space. This is, in another word, undifferentiated experience of mind itself. The experience of something undifferentiated. All other sanskaras are differentiated, means they are in fractions. Acha. Small particles, pieces of papers, this, that, thrown on the floor. What do you need to clear them off? What we call? We call it a broom, or we call it a wiper. Wiper is also an object, and the garbage that is cluttering the floor is also an object. The bigger, the wider, the broader your wiper is, for the time being, it can clear away all the garbage that you carry. Is it not? So therefore, this sanskara has the capacity of cancelling the other sanskaras, warding off other sanskaras. And the more the duration of this experience is, you create another block of sanskara which will sink in. Now, is like a block, single block of unified sanskara, which is just the experience of joy and luminosity with nothing other than that, because there is no thought. So therefore, this is clearly told here that sanskara born out of this intuitive wisdom, ritambhara prajna, is that which cancels out, which eradicates, which weakens, and which kind of works as an obstacle or barrier for the other sanskaras. And you should therefore take it in your stride. What? Just to be thoughtless for some time, every half an hour, maybe longer the period you can attain, it is good. If you cannot, then 10 seconds, 15 seconds of this sanskara, if you create every half an hour, it will be very, very useful. I'm not saying you are going to rise to the level of ritambhara, but this itself is a unified sanskara where you are experiencing thoughtlessness. You fill yourself with the joy. and whatever luminosity of your presence, that whatever your own presence is experienced, that itself is a sanskara. More of it is going to clear your old sanskaras. That is how people change. There is only one way to change. People think it is sadhana which changes. It does. But the maximum amount of change that comes through satsang, coupled with meditative listening. Okay. Understand? Because when you are listening to these words and don't allow any other thought, any other ripple to bother you, you are allowing these words, their meanings, to occupy all your mind space. And that is what happens when you are available for any transmission, which means just a friendly exchange between the teacher and the student. Of what? Of the inner state of experience. There also it happens. For you to be able to experience or receive that exchange which is being projected towards you by the teacher, you have to remain meditative. Meditative means nothing. Be available without any inner dialogue. And when that happens, for a moment or two, for a minute or two, few seconds or so, your inner state changes completely. That becomes a sanskara for you. And that cancels so many of your old sanskaras. The same things happen in satsang. When you are attentively listening, not अपने दिमाग की खिचड़ी ना पका रहे हो, तो अपना अपना एजेंडा लेके ना बैठे हो, तो कुछ विशेष पाने के लिए ना सोचते हो, तो if you're just being here, fully enthusiastic, joyous, available, and not entertaining anything other than what is being presented, it is going to create a very deep sanskara on your mind. I can assure you that although it will not be the sanskara which Ritambara Pragya develops, but it will definitely be a strong enough sanskara to change the tonality of your mind. So what changes you? Sadhana. But satsang is a consistent, because satsang is a controlled process. Sadhana, आप खुद ही कर रहे हो. Nobody is there to monitor it. And there is no external force which is actually guiding you there. Your flow of thoughts are because of your vasanas. Your ripples, your vrittis are because of your inner desires, your aspirations, your unresolved issues, your sense of anger, your sense of guilt, your sense of jealousy, and whatnot. So when you sit alone and try to meditate, it helps. But it will help only when you are actually in the right state of mind, when your inner space is not churned enough. But satsang is a place where the words themselves become the carrier for your consciousness, a cradle on which your consciousness moves from one place to another as the words take you along that journey. This creates a very deep sanskara. I'm not saying, once again, telling you that it is not equivalent to Ritambara sanskara, but it is quite a powerful tool for most of us who are in our beginning of the journey. where we are just trying to tame our mind, trying to control our mind, just trying to become sane enough, come from the different roles, come back to the individuality at least. That helps. And it's a big leap. Once you have repeatedly experienced being individual, what it does? Repeatedly, if you become individual, dropping your role, all your roles will stop losing their grip on you. They will not bother you as much. And that is what happens. A person who lives in the presence of such energy, cultivate that kind of attitude. Yesterday's bondages, yesteryear's cravings may not affect him or impact at all. So a person who was hell-bent to do something or some kind of activity, action, running behind something or someone, may suddenly find that he or she is in comfortable space. Why? Because now the sanskaras of individuality are governing it. And this sanskara of individuality, which is laden with the luminosity of your own being, which is your own presence, and with the joy that is self-effulgent joy, which is coming just by being there, it is almost equivalent to, if not being tonality somewhat, towards that kind of sanskara which Ritambara Pragya someday will illuminate our mind space. So it should be always kept in mind that this meditation, which simply means living in complete silence. Silence means we don't insist external silence, though it might be a requirement in the beginning. Silence is inside. Inner silence. No self-talk. That is inner silence. And for that, you should always few guidelines in your behavior. Just don't comment on things. Don't speak unless asked. Even if asked, think twice before speaking. Is it necessary to speak? Mostly, we fail. And at times, if someone is watching you, someone is observing you, and suppose the person asks you, suppose you just start giving commentary. You visit a place and say, just like that. Last time when I came there, this thing was not there, that thing was not there. Then ask them, who asked you? Who asked you? So difficult. Always ask yourself before you open your mouth. Has anybody posed a question that I am speaking? And was that question worth answering? Is it? And you will be surprised to just see how the so-called positivity of life, the amazement which life is ready to usher upon us, is gone by people like us who just speak without asking. They continue to speak. And I'll tell you how it takes away the joy. Suppose you're visiting a place for the first time and that such a person is accompanying you. You want to explore that place, you want to see that place, you want to experience that place from your own perspective. But this person continues, kuturgu, kuturgu, kuturgu. What will happen? Now you cannot experience that place uncontaminated. You will have an opinion. And many things which might be coming to you as surprise are no more surprises. Things which could amaze you are no more amazing because you're already, there is some kabutar who is continuously doing kuturgu without asking. And we are not bothered about the simple beauties and marvelous simple beauties of the life, but we are always interested in the Maya world. And therefore, if somebody comes and start telling the story of a movie which you have not seen, then you say, shut up, don't tell me the story. But do you have the courage to say the same thing about life? You don't. Think about it. If you really want to experience the life as it is, you should not welcome such guturgu, first of all. And secondly, you should never engage in such guturgu. Who asked you? If nobody asks you, why are you speaking? And if you continually ask this question to yourself, who asked me? You'll be surprised. 8 out of 10, you're speaking without anyone asking. This is our state of mind. And if we want to really come to the nirvichara vaisharadhya, this habit is going to come as a very big obstacle. Because we are unconsciously speaking, never ever knowing that we are speaking, unknowingly. It doesn't come to our notice also, and we continue speaking. This is, I'm talking about Vaikhari, spoken. But now turn your attention inside and look within and see what are you doing in your mind space. Worries means you are talking to yourself. Anger means you are talking to yourself. Frustration means you are talking to yourself. Grief means you are talking to yourself. Stop talking. Stop talking. You can't remain angry. Stop talking. You can't remain sad. You can't remain jealous. You can't remain depressed. You can't remain in guilt. You can't remain in hatred. Just stop talking. Now understand what it means? The moment nirvichara vaisharadhya is not achieved, even if nirvichara state is achieved, it is nya-sanskâra-pratibandhî. The experience of inner silence is the biggest positive sanskara that you can cultivate that habit of. That inner silence. That is what we are talking. Inner silence, more of it is going to change the tonality of our mind. And when our tonality of our mind changes, what changes, you know? The world changes. Because world is the same. We are suffering because of the world view. And when the tonality of mind changes, our point of view changes about the world, thus changing the world view. So world remains the same, but still feels like it has changed for us. And how it is done? Not by thinking. Applying Vidya is very primal state of development of a sadhaka. The higher changes, the subtler changes that we want to bring about in our inner mind space, they are achieved only when you are free of all Vidya and Avidya both, which means complete silence. And that is going to be the subject matter and training when we are going to take the last contemplation level workshop. just revealing a plot so that we understand how do we progress, how changes happen. Vidya, 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 we have applied enough. If you have, I don't know. You will tell whether you have applied Vidya or not. If you have been honest enough and consistent enough in applying Vidya, that must have brought positive changes for sure. However, if you have reached a threshold, beyond that, Vidya doesn't help, because that is all words. What changes is your own presence, illumination of your own being, laden with the self-effulgent joy, and that state of mind which is completely still, silent, serene, ocean without wave. This is a sanskara. And this sanskara, when achieved after following all what Patanjali has suggested so far, Ishwar Pranidhan, Pranav Jap, and also meditation on lotus of heart, etc., etc., Pranav Japa, and more about Vairagya and Abhyasa. If we have done it, we have also cultivated the habit of being in the aklishta vrittis rather than klishta vrittis. I'll give you one method. You see, we are not designed in the same way. We are all, as individuals, have different level of perception. Some of us have heightened perception of taste. Some of us have heightened perception of smell. Rarely so though, but some of you. Some of us are highly, for sound, for vision, and then touch, etc. But one basal thing, basal emotion, basal sensation is smell. And it can be utilized in some way. I'll tell you how. Whenever you are experiencing disturbance, etc., assign it a dirty smell. Assign it, knowingly so. Say that when I am disturbed, I am experiencing a dirty smell from my mind. A bad odor is coming from my mind. Now, will you like to carry such a mind on your head? And this is how it has been defined. कहते हैं, मुझे आपकी बातों से क्या, आपकी बातों में पाप की गंध आ रही है, वगैरह वगैरह. You see, just to assign certain smells, not so pleasant ones, with the kind of state of emotion you are having, experiencing in your mind, and then you will be able to immediately switch to the Garden of Eden, Garden of Roses, Garden of Lavender, Garden of Jasmine. Assign those positive imagery, positive connotation for whatever is aklishta for you. Simple. Assign some basal attributes, pleasant and unpleasant, with your state of mind, and will be easily able to detect and then get rid of it. Otherwise, it is not possible. The moment you recognize you are laden with krodh, okay, assign it some smell, some bad smell. Do you want to carry it in your head? No. I want to just move to what? Good smell, good smell. What is good smell? Define that too for you, or else you'll be confused. Where to go? So define a aklishta vritti for that. And that can come from smriti also, that can come from kalpana also, vikalpa also. That is not a problem. Use your kalpana for getting rid of kleshtavrittis. Use your smriti for getting rid of kleshtavrittis, but get rid of it at any cost. That is for the beginner. I told you about Vidya. This Vikalpa also works. Okay. This Smriti also works for creating the foundation for further journey. And the more you think about positives and good, you will be ready to take the next step. Because positivity of your inner experience, the joy that is in your inner experience, is only the solid ground upon which you can travel. Please remember. Otherwise, it is just mud. This is just muck. You can't walk on what we call, हम लोग हिंदी में बोलते हैं दलदल, where land is very loose, soil is very loose, wet and loose. The moment you step on it, you start sinking in. Please recognize this. Kleshtavrittis in your mind will never give you a solid ground to take up your spiritual ascension, the journey that you want to embark on. It is not possible. But best of it is to make your mind thoughtless. Give you many ways. Whatever is possible, apply. But the best of it is learn to meditate. Meditate means what? ध्यान करना नहीं है, ध्यान देना है. क्या ध्यान देना है? ये ध्यान देना है कि मेरे दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, बस. और केवल ध्यान देना है, रोकना नहीं है. याद रखो. Because whatever is happening, when you become aware, it will start subsiding immediately. And when that state is arrived, where you become completely thoughtless, hold on to it. Be there. Experience your luminous presence filled with joy in that thoughtless state. And that has the power to undo your past sanskaras. Okay, when I say past sanskaras, it simply means past karma. Okay, so you can undo your past karma by way of meditation. Simple meditation means being thoughtless, filled with joy and being aware of your luminous presence that you are. All your past karmas can be burnt. That is what yogis say. Patanjali claims it, that it will burn all your sanskaras. Past sanskaras will burn, and you will become like a newly born child again. And one thing, one prayer, one must attainable thing is, भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं ना आप लोग, ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं, हाथ जोड़ते हैं, भगवान ये दे दो वो दे दो, सबको सन्मति दे भगवान. When most of us say Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, we ignore ourselves. We actually, in exclusion of self, we are saying Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. It will be very selfish to say that. Come on. सुखी आदमी ही दूसरे का कल्याण मना सकता है. बाबा लोग, दुखी आदमी केवल अपना ही कल्याण करने में लगा रहता है, दूसरे का क्या करेगा वो? Understand? So therefore it should be really well understood that keeping a positive state of mind, and positive means joyous. पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव और कुछ नहीं होता, ठीक है, joyous. And you know, our Shastras tell that the sins, effect of sins, are experienced as dukkha. Okay. An experience of all your punya karmas, virtuous deeds, are experienced as happiness, joy, sukha. Okay. Now, tell me, you say karmas are binding upon me. We have come with the prarabdha, and that will come. And therefore I will suffer because past karma, this karma. But if you have learned to cultivate a joyous, luminous inner state of mind, are you not defying the past karma here? Are you not becoming free from the clutches of the papa karma here? Because direct correlation has been told. Dukkha means papa. Whenever dukkha is in life, please know that some of the papa karma is manifesting now. Any dukkha. But do you have any choice? Yes. Yes. This is what is the power of yoga. Yoga से होगा. अभी बदलेंगे. We can change it right away. हमारा पुण्य कर्म हम बना लेंगे. कैसे? By becoming joyous, happy. Because that is in our control. ठीक है ना? And that also means a yogi who has control on his mindscape and mind space is free from the clutches of karma. हो गया ना? बाहर हो गई ना बात? कर्म खत्म हो गया. क्यों? अब हम खुद ही विश्वकर्मा बन गए. अपना सृजन खुद करेंगे. There's nothing to get worried. It does not mean that sufferings will not come. Miseries will not come. Suffering, miseries, everything will come. But it is repeatedly told that you should not be miserable. Let miseries come. And there is a difference. This difference is very subtle. When miseries come, we feel the other person must be miserable. May not be. Because by the same logic, that when you think that इतना ढोल बाजा बज रहा है घर में, है ना, कुछ भी अच्छा ओकेजन है, हम ढोल बाजा बजाते हैं, है ना, ढोल ताशा बज रहा है, तो जिसके लिए बज रहा है वो खुशी होगा, ऐसा हम एज्यूम कर लेते हैं, पर ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है ना? क्यों भाई? बाय द सेम लॉजिक, अगर घर में और उस व्यक्ति के चारों तरफ मारकाट मची हुई है, ऑल मेहम इज गोइंग ऑन, डोंट एज्यूम, क्या पता वो योगी हो, इज नॉट मिजरेबल. यू मे थिंक अरे एंड दैट पर्सन इज ओके, एंड दैट पर्सन इज यू, बिकॉज आप लोग सत्संगी हैं. नन अदर देन यू कैन बी लाइक दैट. All right. So, refusing to be victim of your sanskaras. How do you refuse? By immediately wiping out all the sanskaras. And wiping out sanskaras means creating a nirvichara state. But the basis of it Creating that nirvichara state is not just हाँ इधर दिल में आग लगी, सीने में जला, नाकों में तूफान, और हम माइंड स्पेस कर रहे हैं। नहीं, फर्स्ट क्रिएट joyous state of being. Second, reclaim your own being, your own presence. Then work on it. Now it will be possible. And it will not be superficial. दूसरों से बोलना बंद करने की प्रैक्टिस करो, दिन भर करो, और जब शांति अकेले बैठे हो तो अपने से बोलना बंद करो. That is how you will create a basic eligibility, primary eligibility for meditation. And that will create such a sanskara which will wipe out all your old sanskaras. कुछ भी किया हो, doesn't matter. Examples: Angulimal. Examples: Valmiki. So many examples. ये तो हमको हिस्ट्री में मिल जाते हैं. Examples: Kalidas. Okay. Please remember, all that you should do is keep a check on the state of mind. And the best state of mind is, which is stateless. And that stateless mind is having the tonality of your luminous experience of your being, Jyotishmati, and Vishoka, self-effulgent joy. Nothing else. Create such sanskaras, and you can be, at least partially, if not fully, stay young at various levels. Stay young, when I say, it should not mean that only from bhoga perspective or bodily perspective. Young means the one who is ready to learn, the one who is not fixated in views, the one who is full of enthusiasm, the one who is consistently looking at the world as an opportunity for growth, the one who is not condemning and only focusing on obstacles, but also seeing hope and positivity in whatever he is doing. Young people are like that, and that is why they succeed. All millionaires, those who are becoming, they're all young people. I haven't seen in India somebody starting business at 70 and becoming millionaire. And हम लोग सोचते हैं, and when all the experience is at our command, more educated we are, but the only thing is we have become old. You understand what it means? Becoming old is this. Young people never tire, because whatever they are doing, they're doing it with enthusiasm, 100% commitment. Old people are ठीक है, बोलते हो तो कर लेते हैं, कहते हो तो चल लेते हैं, बोलते हो तो खा लेते हैं, तो खा लेते तो हजम भी तो नहीं होता. फिर किसी और के कहने से कुछ भी करोगे तो होगा पूरा, नहीं होगा. क्यों भाई? This is how we live. Being young means staying uncontaminated for whatever impressions we have gathered from life. That is why young people, young at mind, young at heart, young at body, young at the level, in a level of sanskaras, or what do you say, the level of sanskara that have fallen upon you, they are young, because not too many sanskaras yet. and that is how they are young. How to become young? Wipe out all other sanskaras. किसने कहा? पुराना हटाओ. किसने क्या कहा? हटाओ. किसने क्या बोला? हटाओ. And most important, stop associating and giving voice to your past, especially that which is miserable. Okay. Understand? Later on, even that will drop, the good one also. But for now, never ever talk anything about your past which gives you a sense of misery, sense of suffering, sense of victimization. And the more you talk about it means what? You're giving it a status of reality and making it real again in your head. You're reliving it. And that is the best way to do. All right? So, taj-jah nya-sanskâra-pratibandhî is the sutra. And the sutra should be well understood by everybody who is actually in the sadhana, in satsang, or even in the healing. Those healers will succeed more who engage their clients in some or the other exercises which keep their mind calm while they are trying to interfere in their energies. Because then they will get the supporting environment there. All right. So I hope you have understood the meaning of it. And last one sentence which you should know. There is, now what we are discussing, there are two types of sanskaras. One, which are to be wiped out. One, that are to be annihilated, wiped out, thrown out. Suppose, before we just close, suppose there is a hall and it's a lot of garbage, lot of dust, and I deploy all of you, all 12 people here, go and clean this place. So of course you'll have 12 brooms, some mops, some something, and all that you'll have. Correct. I'll start cleaning, and of course it will get clean in half an hour, 1 hour, depending on the size of that hall. It will be clean. Now what? Will you keep your mops and brooms and wipers there itself, and they say it is clean? No. Even those have to be thrown out. You see. Then only you can claim now this room is perfectly clean. So here we have understood that there are two types of sanskaras. One which are like garbage, one which is like a cleaner, the wiper, the mop. तो बाद में क्या होगा? इसको भी फेंको. This will also be thrown out. And it is not to be thrown out. Just like when a fruit ripens, it falls off the branch. In the same way, when all the sanskaras that are coming, that are staying in your mind space as a clutter or garbage or negativity or anything, when they all are cleaned, this mop vanishes automatically. This is the way. And what happens then is the subject matter of next sutra that we'll discuss next Sunday. All right, let's pray and then we'll. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ Sure.